Hiya, hiya, it's Joey Reynolds. I think I'm losing my hearing from all those years of playing those rock and roll records when I was a disc jockey. I don't hear real well. I've been trying to pay attention to the news and all the events, and I thought they were talking about Kabul. I thought they were having trouble with their cable, and I was watching those commercials about cable, how we're getting rid of cable, and we're leaving cable. I thought, yeah, we're going to go over to XM Sirius and pay more money. We are losing cable. We're also losing our minds. We're living too closely on the edge. I think we're all on the edge. I'm at a point now where I'm going to pull out my hair in my ears. That's what you do when you get older. You get all of a sudden you get hair in all the wrong places, and you lose it in the right places. I noticed that Chris Rock, have you seen him? He's on television. He had his teeth fixed. He's starting to look like Dionne Warwick, facially. I mean, I think he's had some face work done and the teeth fixed. He's trying to be glamorous. The guy was funny. Why would you try to do something else? Because most of these guys don't like who they are. They want to be an actor, or the sports figures. I was watching the most true sports figure on television today from my generation, Billie Jean King, which I thought that was Michael Jackson's song. Billie Jean. Wasn't that what he was singing about her? I don't know. I thought she was a great tennis player, and then she came out of the closet, they said that she was a switch hitter, and I thought that was a new technique with tennis. But here she is, she got married after 40 years of living with the same other woman. Well, it would be another woman. It wouldn't be the same woman. It would be her. Only I would have trouble living with myself. But she's got another partner now, and they've been together 40 years, and finally they got married. Would you be together with your childhood sweetheart for about 30, 40 years and then decide you're going to get married? Isn't it the point where you really say, I don't know why I got married? This is the reverse, right? But I would give her the Gene Simmons Kiss Award, with that big tongue of his. There are certain people that take a lot of abuse, and believe me, she took it from the press. We all got mad at her, and John McEnroe was around the same time too. Because he was a bad boy. But that's what makes it exciting. It's outlaw. I was watching a special on Reels last night about Johnny Cash. He was an outlaw. He went into prison, did the Folsom Prison Blues. He wound up entertaining the troops in prison, and prison reform. He got into a whole deal of making life good for other people, and the same with Willie Nelson. Yeah, there was a special on him too. He was an outlaw. So I think I mentioned this before. Ed Solomon, who was programming WHN in New York, which is outlaw. He has an outlaw bone in his body. Country music is outlaw. In many ways, there's other things besides losing the trailer and and being drunk every night. The country stereotype. That's why Patsy Cline sang "Crazy." Used to be originally titled "Stupid," but they changed the title to "Crazy." But both are a good description. Anyway. I digress. The country music world has always been about troubles and problems, and the Outlaws were very popular in those days of the 60s and 70s. And Ed Solomon had a radio station in New York, which was against the grain for country music in New York. Is very, very difficult. People don't die with their boots on in New York. Not as a rule. So we had a time when he wanted to put all of the outlaw disc jockeys together. This is Wolfman Jack and Imus and Howard Stern and myself, and put us all on the same station. Outlaws playing outlaw music. That place would have blown up in about an hour, I think. From Ego, it should have been renamed WEGO, Ego. My favorite call letters are WKRP because it spells crap. Nobody ever referred to it as that, but only me. I try to spell out things. I believe that words indicate a lot. They give you it's a roadmap. When somebody puts a sign up and they put a name on it, you better start believing it. Sometimes it's not pleasant, or not. It's not positive. But we're living in a world now where everybody's finding fault with everybody else. It's his fault, her fault. She did it, he did it, I did it, they did it. They're wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Why did we do this? They're running that Kabul videotape of the people jumping on the airplane to get out of there. They're running that like they did the tapes of the tragedy in Minneapolis. I mean, you see it over and over and over again. But we had that too with Rodney King years ago. Why can't they just get along? That ran ad infinitum. So there's certain things that the news people pick up on, and they drive it into the ground. And what it really looked like at the Kabul, it looked like that thing on January 6th at the takeover of the Pentagon. Or what buildings did they take over? So it's all of these things, these impressions that we have in our brains. We are guided by images, not by reality. We're not. I mean, we have great imagination, and I don't think that content is king. I just don't. I don't think it's what you see, because what you see is not really what is. Not always. And that's why magicians get away with it. It's called sleight of hand. They do a little trick and they keep your mind busy with something else while they're setting it up for you to be fooled. That's also the U.S. government. But it's China, too. I mentioned on the other tape yesterday, I think it was, or no tape, on the other digital performance. Boy, isn't that a great thing for Viagra? This will enhance your digital performance. It'll also help you to play hard. Well, once again, let me go back to the subject. All right, the driverless cars. Now, when we have the driverless cars, there was a movie that was made with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he was. There were driverless cars in that movie, and one with Tom. What did he do that Tom had? Tom Cruise movie where the cars were flying and there was no one driving them. I can't remember the names of these things, but it's all fantasy, But now it's not so much fantasy. They want to put these cars on the road. And then people like the electric car, the electric thing. They think it's going to be nice and quiet. But let me tell you something about what I want to throw this in. I was one of the guys that drove the hydrogen car. General Motors had made a dozen. They made 25 of them. Very expensive. And they gave them to people who were ordinary in LA, which is a car city, and I had one of them in New York. I drove that thing almost a year. I had that car, and I put everybody famous that I could ever have on my show in that car, and it got rave reviews. First of all, it's very quiet. Unfortunately, if you're on the street with that car, since it doesn't have an engine that makes noise, someone could get in front of it and not hear you coming. So that's not a good thing. Also, it wants to go faster than it can. It could go. It would do 100 miles an hour if it didn't have a governor on it. Of course, a lot of these places don't need a governor. But the thing that I drove with this hydrogen car was the fuel was $7 for a whole week's supply of fuel, and hydrogen is water based, so it doesn't danger the environment. And I think I may have told you I took Willis Pyle, who was the last living Disney artist and developed with Walt Disney himself the monorail. So he told me the monorail is very, it's not ecologically friendly because it's diesel fuel. But the hydrogen car is just water, and it's not dangerous at all. He said, this is great. So I took him for a ride, and this is a guy that did Snow White, Pinocchio, and he was so thrilled, because now something is real that they would have used in their thoughts, like the Apple Watch, which was a Dick Tracy watch in comic books years ago. So we have invented things in our heads, and then we materialize them, and we sell them, and other people imitate them. It's very common. It's imitation of life. That's what goes on. That's why there are people who are on television with series. It's a series, it's an imitation. And then everybody jumps in on the ball game. Or if someone does something real well, a singer, then a lot of people want to be like that person. It's the way we're built. We love to rub off on someone else. And I think I'm not imitating anybody. because nobody will have me as I am. Now, if I get very popular with this, this kind of style that I'm doing right now, which is to just sit here and rap, there are going to be a lot of people start doing this. You know? If there's money in it, everybody's going to do it. But it's I'm a lone ranger right now. I'm just a guy. I'm the first guy in to. I was the first shock jock. I mean, you know, that was 1963. So that's the truth. Long before Howard Stern, frankly, and he was shocking to everybody. So was Imus, but I was there before these guys, and nationally famous too. Incidentally, I'm not bragging about it. I'm just saying, see how it goes. When something works, then other people do it. That's my point. And I think somewhere along the line, we need to have me on the air doing this every day, and then develop a farm team of young people who want to express themselves and have fun on the air and do what I'm doing. Just do a rap. I think it'd be great to have a whole country of people like this in local radio to begin with, local television. I think it would save the whole industry. But you gotta know that it's going to take somebody to invest in it, and most people don't want to part with their money. So I sit here in Florida with worrying about Kabul, and it's a Reynolds Wrap.